Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. All right. So let's start with any problems or questions that people had from last week.
I guess it's not a problem, maybe, but the SEO like keywords weren't in some of the articles that I looked at. I know
Yeah.
I touched on that on Google or the Skype.
Yeah. Let me. When you see that, can you throw me the link for them?
Sure.
Okay.
Do you want it direct message or in Skype?
Yeah, Skype, I think Skype's
Okay.
probably the best way to do a lot of this communicating until I kind of move you guys to Asana.
Okay.
But I think we're gonna wait a little bit more on that. Okay, so I think everybody is getting better with their images. I'll kind of recap with the first thing. Let me share my screen. But I'd like to kind of move away from these types of images, you know, where you're using a title on top of a background image, because that's what the featured images essentially are. So, you know, we go here to the website, we go to a blog. The featured image is this image right here. And you can see that it's almost always going to be that kind of design. So the idea of what we're doing from here is, you know, either using images from the body of the text, and typically what will happen is, you know, if you've got a image here, this image should go with this paragraph, most likely. But you'll see that there's plenty of other paragraphs that don't have their own images. So that's where either doing research on the internet and or, you know, like when you have a YouTube video, there's also tools you can use there. You can take a screenshot, for example. That's what Fireshot is for. So, you know, you can go capture selection, right, and draw a box around that image. I didn't really draw correctly, but you get the idea. So, yeah. Then, so today what I wanted to kind of get into a little bit more is the main piece of homework going forward is just to continue getting a good feel for CoSchedule. And I saw the Facebook groups that you guys shared, but now we should kind of start looking for more examples of content kind of within the industry as well. Because I looked at a lot of those Facebook groups and, you know, they just don't, it's good to kind of pay attention to how people are building engagement within the Facebook groups, but none of them are really highly relevant to what we'll be doing with our own campaigns. So I started to do some keyword research on the top social media marketers. And I think if you guys could start to do this also, like every week, go out and pay attention to someone within the industry. And I'm going to kind of go back and recap about the business. SEO at the end of the day is anything you can do on the internet, really. And that because of that, one of the main concepts is how do you manage your time? How do you prioritize what to do? And video is, you know, our primary weapon in that kind of situation, because Google and YouTube, you've heard me say all these things. So when I did some social media research on, I don't know where it went. Second. Hope I didn't just lose that work. I guess I did. That's unfortunate. This is why you save. program updated and I lost that work. Great. Anyways, so I went best social media marketing YouTube channels. Thankfully, it's in my history. So going through here, you know, I did Ahrefs on this front page, and these were the 2 articles that came up with the most traffic. I went through them all, and a lot of them are actually pretty. What's interesting to me is a lot of social media marketers don't use YouTube. And I think I understand why. It's because, again, Google and Facebook are competitors. The only one on here on this list, these are all pretty famous social media marketers that gets a lot of traffic, is this Gary Vaynerchuk. Even though he does social media, he's also, he likes his YouTube. So when I didn't find what I was looking for from this, I did see on the people also asked section, who are the best social media marketers? And I opened up this article because when I scanned it up with Ahrefs, it has a ton of traffic. Now, it's kind of interesting that a lot of these people, even though they're very popular in social media and they're well known in the social media marketing industry, they don't have great YouTube channels. So Jeff Bullis, I mean, he's literally one of the top social media marketers in the world, and he has only 536 subscribers, 29 videos. So he's really, really weak on the YouTube side of things. But I kept going down the list, and I eventually found some people that I liked. I just need to do this over again. Wasn't him. I know you've heard me talk about Neil Patel. I'm not a big fan anymore. So it's kind of interesting that a lot of these people, even though they're very popular on social media, they do not have strong YouTube presence. But I think that's good for us because we can take what we do find from the YouTube side of things and take it to social media, and there's going to be a disconnect. A lot of people aren't going to have seen it as much. So this is going to be, I'm going to share this to the Facebook group, and I think people should just kind of take a look at a couple of them each week and check out their, social media platforms. And let's start to brainstorm what you guys like from this list of influencers. And another thing is when they don't have a YouTube presence, you click on a video like this one. This girl doesn't have a very strong presence. 2,000 subscribers. We have about that many subscribers, but she is in this video talking about the power of video. So that reminded me to kind of get back to letting you creating the goals for what our social media strategy is going to be. And our goals are the primary demographics, again, are web designers. So we get a lot of jobs from web designers and business owners with websites, specifically WordPress. Now that's our goal. That's who we're trying to target. So any kind of content that really seems to have that as their primary focus audience, let's share that to the Facebook group. Now what are we kind of going to be targeting for that type of content? What's our secondary kind of focus is going to be video. Video is really where all of our SEO strategies start. We will usually see that through until we start to see pretty significant diminishing returns. Once we start to see diminishing returns, we do 2 things. We will branch off into additional keyword categories, because that's one of the main concepts in SEO. Even if you get number 1 for a keyword, which, going back to algorithm layering and going back to how hard it is to compete over the top 3 results, a lot of small businesses shouldn't actually be interested in the top 3 results. Normally it's unnecessarily competitive, and it's only going to bring in high volumes of cold leads, when in reality you want warm leads. So video is the most important part. Video, secondary keyword for video is YouTube, because YouTube is where we put the videos. From YouTube, one of the 2 main advantages to YouTube versus Google, is the relationship between YouTube and Google, but you're not going to find a lot of that on the internet. And that's basically only information for SEO professionals. This is something that we explain to clients, but you're not going to see a lot of it on the internet. But what you should know is that YouTube ads are really one of the secondary pieces to why YouTube is so powerful. YouTube ad, in all SEO, you have to create content, then you have to distribute the content. And it doesn't, if you could have the best content in the world, but if you don't distribute it and you don't get eyeballs on it, then you're not going to get SEO for it. And that's, a misconception a lot of people have. When you Google something, you see the top 3 results, you automatically think this is probably the best content. Very often that is not the case. You've seen this through all my research with Ahrefs, right? Results 5, 6, and 7 could have more traffic than the results 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3 simply rank better for the keyword that you search for. Whereas, results 7's, 5 through 7 could have more traffic overall because they rank for a wider range of keywords and or rank for better keywords with higher volume. So YouTube ads, the reason YouTube ads are powerful is you pay for them, you get views to your video, and when you stop paying for ads, you don't lose those results. So if you're paying for ads in pretty much any other way on the internet, on Facebook or on Google, as soon as you stop paying for the ads, you stop getting traffic to your website. And you essentially lose any, you don't get any results from that point forward. Now, traffic to your website does turn into organic SEO over a long period of time. So that's kind of why YouTube ads are so powerful. You pay for YouTube ads, you get views to your video, and when you stop paying for them, they don't disappear. They stay on your video. So, something like video marketing, Seattle. It's going to be it's going to be pretty competitive. If I go video marketing Seattle and I Ahrefs this, you're going to see that these have a pretty high bar of what you need to get to rank there. I take that exact same keyword, I go to YouTube with it, and you can see that the #1 video, Seattle web search. With 4 years ago, I haven't really stayed up on the YouTube. I've found success with the YouTube, and again, going back to the algorithm layering, I'm not sure, and please stop me if I'm repeating myself, but there was a point where I did reach #1 for Seattle SEO, and that's when I learned about algorithm layering. I went from getting about 2 phone calls a week, to getting about 30 phone calls a week, and wasted the entire week, if not 2 weeks, right, doing email responses, doing SEO audits, giving people estimates, and trying to convert all these cold leads. And that was when I realized very, very quickly, within 2 weeks, that this wasn't sustainable, and that I wasn't in a position to immediately hire the amount of people it would take to manage that high volume of cold leads. So that's when I essentially turned off a lot of my own SEO and started learning about how to get qualified traffic rather than just traffic in general. So this just goes back to a lot of small businesses think they want to be in the top 3 results for a keyword phrase, but they don't necessarily. And then on top of that, a lot of people get tunnel vision on the wrong kinds of keywords. So I'll use one of my clients as an example. Exact Electric is an electrician in Seattle. And, he had been doing SEO himself and hired some people to do it for a while, and they had targeted Seattle electrician. Almost all businesses do this. I'm a dentist in Bothell. That's my main keyword, Bothell dentist. And, that's what they'll focus all their time and energy on. So he had been doing, he had hired a part-time social media girl and a part-time writer, and they were blogging every single month and doing social media posts every single day. And the time they'd seen their ranking go up from 13 to 12, because 12 is where they started at when we started working together, had been 3 months earlier. And they saw that through Google AdWords. So he was also paying for ads for traffic to his website. and spending, I think, $500 a month on that, as well as $500 a month on HomeAdvisor, which HomeAdvisor used to be not free. You kind of paid for a membership. So this is where an example of where we made a video for his homepage, and the video was titled "Need to hire an electrician?" ? We are a licensed Seattle electrician, Exact Electric. We're targeting 3 different keyword phrases in this video. We're targeting hire an electrician, Seattle electrician, and then the name of the business, Exact Electric. So we started paying for YouTube ads. We got that video up to 2,000 views over a period of a month. And his ranking went up from 12 for hire electrician to number 8 for hire, or not for hire electrician, for Seattle electrician. So if you do the math there, they're blogging every single month. They're doing social media every single day. That one video was worth a year's worth of blogging and a year's worth of social media. If it takes 3 months to get from 13 to 12 with that much blogging and that much social media, and one video gets you from 12 to 8, that's just speaking to the power of video, and also to how useful YouTube ads are. YouTube ads take out a lot of the hard work of distributing content. Back then too, social media was a lot easier than it is today. You're going to hear me say this over and over again. Engagement is the name of the game in social media, and how you get engagement is no easy task. So yeah, I'll probably be providing with you guys a lot of this content, but when you're looking at these social media influencers and these social media marketing experts, social media profiles and their content, anytime you see anything talk about video, anytime you see anything talk about YouTube, that's going to be something that you should share back to the Facebook group. YouTube, at the end of the day, is something that a lot of social media marketers neglect, because it's 2 different worlds. But at the same time, social media is a bubble. It does not provide SEO unless you get someone off your social media platforms and into your website or your YouTube channel. And video is very social media friendly. The problem is that on something like Facebook, they have, gimmicks that make it so that you don't want to share YouTube videos. If I go to our Facebook page and I take that video that I just saw of the girl talking about, where is it? Talking about the power of video. So let's just watch this. And look, in this case, Madeline Scar, which is a social media marketer, didn't even make this video herself. LinkedIn interviewed her at some event and put the video up here. It's very kind of surprising that these social media people are just so bad at YouTube. They really are. Her channel, 2,000 subscribers, 26 videos, and the number 1 video with her name in it isn't her video. It's from LinkedIn. So this is actually great. There's a lot of opportunity, I think, in following these social media marketers, finding their content on their website or their social media platforms, and repurposing it and sharing it sharing it ourselves on, onto our social media channels. And that's going to be one piece, because that's going to open us up to the larger audience on the social media platforms. But then finding content, video content, and I'm going to show you how to download Facebook videos and stuff. We're going to either edit it and make YouTube videos ourselves, but the point is just that since they're neglecting YouTube, we can find their content either made by other people or we make it ourselves on YouTube, and we're going to kind of leverage that disconnect. So let's just play this real quick. So something I noticed from that video almost immediately was that's basically a social media post right there, right? You could find any one of our video blog posts and take exactly what she just said and made a social media post out of it. So that's another great thing about the disconnect between YouTube and social media is any content that lives on YouTube, there is a pretty high chance that people on Facebook may not have heard of it yet. But so I did want to show you how Facebook kind of keeps you in the bubble when it comes to video, and why YouTube, there's a pretty big disconnect between YouTube and Facebook. If I post a link like that, you see how it doesn't even, like, you have to click on it, leave the website to play it. Whereas if I had downloaded that video, and you can, again, it's pretty easy to download a YouTube video. You just go YouTube downloader. I don't think this is the one I like the most, but I'll just do it for now. And you download the MP4. And you upload it directly to Facebook, then the video becomes playable in the feed. If you don't do it, if you don't upload the video directly to Facebook, and this is how they keep you in the bubble, then the video isn't playable. You know, you have to click on the link and navigate outside of Facebook. And to build engagement, you have to do that within the Facebook bubble. So you can see how social media is tricky. To get SEO, you need them off of the platform, but to build engagement, you need them in the platform. So you got to have two distinctly different strategies. So you're going to want to, you know, mix a little bit of the two. But let's just kind of, because I want to be clear about the homework for each week. The main homework for this week is to look at this article and just kind of start checking these guys out. You know, I would even start checking these people out a little, you know, one or two of them every single week. And anything you find on there that you thought was useful for your own learning purposes, that you think that we can use in our own strategies, let's relay that back into the Facebook group. So I'm going to put this in the actual Facebook group. And I'm going to post this video. Madeline Scar. Influencer. So one easy way to start building engagement on these videos is to engage on them yourself. You know, you can, if with a team of 6 people that we have right here on social media, that is at least 6 likes and shares and comments that we could get per piece of content. So I'm not saying like, share, and comment on every single one of them, but let's start to, you know, when you see something from a teammate that you like, that, you know, drop a comment on it. Explain why you like it. If you see something, if you have a piece of content that you've been, you know, saving this in Evernote, I think I've made this recommendation to you guys. I would highly sign up for Evernote, because not everything you're going to want to post right now, right? But if you find something interesting while you're out and about doing, you know, social media marketing research or SEO research, just anything you find interesting, I would save it with Evernote, you know, and then once a week, go back to your Evernote, look at what you didn't share. And, you know, if you ever also run out of content in your marketing, it's really handy to have, you know, a library of stuff that you've saved from the past. I can't tell you how many times I've found something amazing, like some really good piece of content, and then my computer goes into an update or something while I'm out of the room, and I can't remember how I got there. So, if, you know, what just happened to me earlier is a good example. My Mind Manager program went into an update. Now I lost my file that was tracking how I got places. So I'm gonna have to probably retrace my steps later. So let me drop this into the Facebook group. I'm definitely gonna have to check out that group, Anna. All right, then our campaigns are going to be targeted at 1, web designers. Because web designers really, to me, are better than business owners, because not every business owner is really ready for SEO. I guess I should kind of get to that. These are the main mistakes I see with small businesses in general. Let me see if any of my recent clients have this issue. Something you'll see all the time with small businesses is they'll have a services page. And then on their services page, they will list 20 different things that they do. This is so bad for SEO, because a basic concept in SEO is to make it as easy as it can be for the search engine to send someone to the right place. So if you have a page that lists 20 different things, you know, and Google, and someone out there Googles in 24-hour in-home care, Google comes across this page, it's not sure whether this page is talking about 24-hour care, in-home safety assessments, daily visits, ad hoc drop-in visits, companion errand runs, or unintended errands. Since this page talks about so many different things, you know, it's going to not be sure which one it really is the focus of the page. And because of that, this page, you know, you would start ranking for 24-hour in-home care, because in-home care is the main keyword that this business targets. You'd rank probably somewhere around 60. This is a guess. Whereas if you had a dedicated page that was just talking about the 24-hour in-home care services that you provide, instead of starting at 60, you'd be starting at 40. Because Google can tell this page is about this thing. And because of that, you automatically rank higher. So this is one of the main mistakes small businesses make, is cramming too many keywords into too few pages. So number 2 mistake that businesses make is having the wrong keywords in their page titles. You know, so going back to Rachel, what you were saying earlier about not having that focus keyword. That focus keyword is incredibly important because, where is it? when you scroll over any, if you scroll over any page on the internet like that, that is the title for the page. And the title for the page is the first consideration Google makes of any page on the internet. So this page's title is 3-point lighting, double dot, improve your YouTube videos with the right ... So that's where the focus keyword and where Yoast SEO comes into play. Yoast SEO is basically just a plugin, and a plugin is just additional functionality that you can install to a website. Every WordPress website in the world should have Yoast SEO. It's a necessary plugin, because what it helps you do is it helps you to override defaults. By default, what WordPress will do is it will bring in the title of the page, and then go dash the title of the website. If I go ahead and delete this now, so I'll make a new page just to kind of show how this works. So if this post is testing, headers, I publish it. And I go down to Yoast SEO, you're going to see testing headers, then the title of the page dash title of the website. So that is good sometimes, but it's not always good always. For example, again, I'll just pull from my recent my clients. This is an education consultant, and a lot of the times what you want the title to be may not necessarily be a great title. So I'll go down here. This blog post titled "Taking Action." Well, that doesn't have very good keywords in it. Someone out there is going to have to Google "taking action" for this to show up, and they're an education consultant. What they really mean is, if we read more into the article, they want teachers to take action so that they can prepare for school that's reopening in the fall, and they're going to have to be teaching online instead of teaching in person. Well, none of those keywords are in that title. Online teaching isn't in the title. Teaching the math of code. This is an example of where the title that you want to use is not a good SEO title. And that's why the focus keyword is important. If you want to show up for a certain keyword, it's got to be in the title. If it's not in the title, you should either probably rethink the focus keyword or rethink the title. So that's one, this is a mistake a lot of businesses make also. It's just they do not change the defaults of Yoast SEO. They don't consider what keywords should be in the title of the pages of their website. So going back to Agape, which is the in-home care provider, I see this all the time with so many websites. If I scroll over the home page, goes home dash Agape in-home care services for the elderly in Bellevue. The reason this is happening is because their home page is titled home, but home isn't a keyword they want to rank for. And this is an example of where you'd want to go into Yoast SEO and change those defaults. What they really want what they want this to say is in-home care services in Bellevue for the elderly. For the elderly, it's kind of redundant because in-home care normally is for the elderly. And Bellevue is a more important keyword. You can see where the ... is. If Bellevue falls outside of that space, then it's really not, it's readable by the search engine, but it's not considered as much of a priority. Words, the keywords that are closest to the left-hand side, that show up first, because we read left to right, those are weighted more heavily than the ones on the far end because of this reason. Because depending on what device you're on, if you're on mobile, it's got even less space. The words that are farthest to the right sometimes get cut off. So I'm just getting into giving you some basic SEO concepts because it'll kind of paint a picture of why we like to target web designers before we like to target business owners. Basically, every single web designer that I work with, I have had the conversation about these basic issues. And really, if I refer business to them and take business from them, they have to have shown to me that they're willing to fix these things. Because it's really, imagine designing someone a beautiful website, and this is a case of it's a pretty good looking website, but the web designer couldn't have been bothered less to fix the the way the home page has its keywords optimized. What's the point of having something beautiful if it can't get eyeballs on it, if it doesn't perform? This is a good example of a web designer that really dropped the ball. And a lot of web designers do this because they think SEO, they're getting paid to design something to make it look pretty, and when it gets to the SEO part, a lot of the times they're just like, that's where my responsibilities end. And yes, a web designer shouldn't be expected to do SEO for free, but at the same time, you shouldn't be handing off a product that's not got to perform the way the person who purchased it intended it to perform. People get websites so that they can get more business. So if you hand someone something pretty that's going to rank for home, and this isn't a home remodeler or home contractor or whatever, that's pretty big issue. So basic keyword research, Yoast SEO. These are things that, again, if you see this kind of content out there, it's very important. It's something that a lot of business owners tend to not know about, and even web designers tend to not know about, and gets neglected. And it can be a very quick 2-second fix that makes a world of a difference. Another thing that web designers drop the ball on, and business owners often drop the ball on, is considered basic SEO, is the speed of a website. GTmetrix is a very easy website to find. You just Google website speed test and you'll find this. You can put any website into this and scan it up. It's going to give you a score for how quickly it loads. Now, the reason why the speed of a website is important is because of mobile phones. Mobile phones don't have a hardwire. They are sometimes not even within Wi-Fi range. So when you're out and about, you're using a 3G network. And 5G will change this completely. But right now it's a big issue because when you're on a 3G network, your download speeds are way slower. So if you have a website that loads in 3 to 5 seconds on a desktop device, that same website on a mobile phone could load in 10 to 15 seconds. So even though a speed increase of 4 seconds to 3 seconds on a desktop may not be huge, on a mobile phone, it's going to be an increased speed, load speed of 5 to 10 seconds. And this is why website speeds are so important, and why Google, really, it's one of the basics to having an SEO-friendly website. If your website's slow, that means pretty much all mobile phones are going to be like staring at a 20-second load time. And considering there's over 6 billion mobile phones on the, in the world, compared to less than 1 billion desktop devices, that's why Google, cares about speed so much. There's a lot more mobile phones out there, and because of that, so this is a brand new client of mine. I'm going to be hopefully fixing this within the week, but 6 seconds is just too slow. Your website really should be faster than 3 seconds, and it needs to be faster than 3 seconds. Let me correct that. It needs to be faster than 3 seconds because a 3-second load speed on a desktop device could be 10 seconds on a mobile phone. And who's going to wait for a website for 10 seconds to load? Most of us don't have that kind of patience. So it needs to be faster than 3 seconds, and you really want it to be faster than 2 seconds. So again, anytime you see anyone talking about website speed, that's another just, it's basic SEO. And if a web designer designs a beautiful website that's slow, same thing. You're going to get penalized by Google. It's not going to be visible to the mobile audience. It's also going to be significantly less visible to desktop audience as well. And it should be a quick, easy fix. There's many plugins similar to Yoast SEO that you can install on a WordPress website that will speed your website up like this. The one I like is called WP Rocket. It is very powerful. You can see if I take my website now, scan it up, hopefully it's running fast. 127 jobs. So we'll move on. But so the three things when it comes, the three basics to SEO, and and one of the reasons I like to work with web designers, because then these things are addressed before the client ever gets to me, and I'm not wasting my time doing things that the web designer should have done, is the putting keywords in the right places, using Yoast SEO, just again, making sure that the home page doesn't rank for home. That it ranks, at least the home page is the one that usually needs to be changed, because very often, services page also not a very good title. Services, well, what kind of services, right? So Yoast SEO defaults. I don't always expect the web designers to do this. What I do expect them to have is dedicated pages. If they have one services page like this and these don't link to their own dedicated pages, that's bad web design. It really is. Maybe the client didn't pay them to create that many pages, but the web designer should know enough to tell them, we really should make 6 dedicated pages for these 6 services. It's basic SEO. And doing it the way you're doing it is basically going to give you a website that doesn't perform. So just, keyword optimization, even though that's kind of a loaded term, but Yoast SEO really is the name of the game. Yoast SEO is just something that all business owners, all web designers should know about and use. It's a very powerful thing. It doesn't take very long to set it, and it can make all the difference in the world. Number 2, the speed of the website. And then number 3, the security of the website. Google doesn't want to send people to websites that have been hacked. It doesn't want its users to get viruses on searches from its search engine. Because of that, the security of the website is incredibly important. So there's many layers to website security, but the first, most basic, is just a security certificate. You pay for these are the easiest things in the world to set up. You don't even have to do it yourself. If you have any kind of good hosting company, like even GoDaddy is kind of the worst. You have to actually ask for it, and they and sometimes even charge for it. GoDaddy is like my least favorite, not my least favorite, but one of my, it's a bad hosting company. But in general, good hosting companies should do this for free for you. Doesn't take any time on your end. All you have to do is, in many cases, install, a plugin. And in many cases, you don't. A good hosting company should probably have installed the plugin for you automatically, or done this for you automatically. But if you click on that little lock on any website, it should say connection is secure. If it doesn't, that is a big red flag. And you'd be surprised how many businesses do this. I just saw this recently from when I was doing keyword research for a financial advisor. We were looking at wealth management companies, and one of the top wealth management companies in the world is RGB or something like that. I could not believe this when I saw this. Not secure. These people can be fined a lot of money, since they make a lot of money in California and in the EU. In California and the EU, it is a requirement to have a secure website, at least an SSL certificate. So I've gotten really off track, but that's the basics of SEO, and this is why I like to work with web designers mostly instead of business owners, because business owners very often will come to me. They'll have all these issues, and at the end of the day, these are things that should have been addressed by their web designer, and stuff that I don't really want to be doing. I mean, we do it all the time, but again, it's like you're paying me to do just the most basic level of SEO imaginable. I wouldn't even call it SEO. I'd call it basic web design. So yeah, speed, security, keyword research. Those are the basics of SEO. From there, things get more complicated. So to make things less complicated, that's where the video comes back in. We like video because you get so much bang for your buck out of video that you can very often get through a good chunk of the SEO process doing video. Going here, these little circles, the first circle is like a brand new website. The second circle is having dedicated pages. The third circle is blogging for your first time ever. Third circle is blogging once a month. Fifth circle, blogging weekly. social media, and then from here, it really depends on the competition. But you can get through, if this third circle is blogging once a month, from there, even before there, you can get through this much of the process using just video without making your life any more complicated. And that's one of the reasons we really like it. Instead of having to do blogging, instead of having to worry about blogging, social media, you can already see from our conversations how complicated social media can be. Video and YouTube ads can get you very close to the first page of Google, closer than anything else single-handedly can do. So, that just what I was trying to get through with all this is that when you're looking at these social media influencers, really focus on content that talks about video. That talks about video. Anything that you see really that talks about WordPress, that's a good idea too, because WordPress is the best type of website to have. Why? Because you don't get held hostage by your web designers. If something new comes on the market, WordPress is called open source. And I don't know if you guys know what open source is, but open source means essentially that the code is public. It's free to the public, which means anybody can improve upon it. And because of that, you're not left waiting for the company to decide, is this feature going to be useful for my users? If anybody out there wants to add something to WordPress, they add it. And because of that, WordPress moves faster and gets updated by the community faster than any other website platform by and far. You can go to plugins over here, and you can find a plugin for almost anything you can imagine. I have an anti-spam plugin because spam is a big issue. Click to tweet, where you can just basically put tweets, embed tweets into your content. Every single one of these does something that's useful. My speed plugin, WP Rocket. If you didn't have WordPress and you wanted to speed up your website, I can't even explain how hard it would be. You'd have to be a high-level coder with development experience to know how to improve the speed of your website. When on the alternative is, if you have WordPress, you just search for WP Rocket in the plugins market. Yoast SEO, again, instead of having to change every single title and meta description by code on every page of your website, you just go to the Yoast SEO section on the edit post page. Like WordPress there is no good reason why you shouldn't be using WordPress unless you do e-commerce. If you do e-commerce, then Shopify is kind of like the WordPress of e-commerce websites, because e-commerce websites, you're trying to get people to buy stuff on your website. So you need to make sure that shopping cart experience is as easy as possible. And Shopify definitely is taking that to a whole nother level past WordPress. And then on top of that, the shipping functionality of Shopify is just way ahead of WordPress. E-commerce is a whole nother world because you're competing with Amazon. Because of that, you have to take everything to a whole nother level. So yeah, video, what we're basically going to be looking for from these influencers is content that we can use in our own campaigns and in our own strategies. So that's why I wanted to explain all that to you guys. That's kind of the basics of how the company works and how SEO works. And then the second thing, besides content that we can use or repurpose, is examples of engagement. How did these people hook their audience? What is it? What speaks to you? What do you guys see when you're looking at their social media channels? What speaks to you is kind of can really speak to what may speak to other people, right? So that's a good way of organically thinking about engagement. It's like, I like this post. Well, why do you like it? And then also, if you ever see a post that has a ton of likes, shares, and comments on it, more than the ones around them, that's another good thing to dial in on. So let's see. I'm just going to pick one of these influencers and go look at a couple of their stuff so you guys can get an idea. So, from this list, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook I'm gonna look at Facebook first because Facebook is really the king of social media. So 213 likes, shares, and likes, 22 comments, 43 shares. This is his pinned post, so it's bound to get stuff like that. 5 likes, 3 shares. Jeff Bullis is an interesting one because he's just been around since the very beginning. I don't think he's really mastered social media so much as he has had the best content since the beginning on how to kind of use it to improve your business. His website actually he's one of the social media marketers that has been around so long that his website was always a centerpiece to his strategies. And because of that, he's probably one of the most SEO friendly social media marketers there is out there. 25 million people read his blog. So, I mean, since I know that he's going to have great SEO, I'm just going to quickly scan up his website. It's been a long time since I've looked at his stuff. So, he's the 6,700th most popular website in the world. It's 23,000 monthly viewers. We'll go look at his top pages. So blog advertising in this, that's what I would really call him. I would call him less of a social media marketer and more of like one of the top bloggers out there in the online marketing space. So pay-per-click, nah. What is he talking about? He's talking about 6 ways to make money with advertising on your blog and the websites to help you. Okay, so he's talking about monetizing the blog. Not really relevant to us because I still to this day have never had a blogger as a client. Why? Because they probably learn how to do this themselves. Top 10 video sharing platforms is YouTube Alternatives. This is a good piece of content. I could definitely use this. So this is just an example of, you're looking at, in this case, I jumped off of his social media platform to Ahrefs, but that's just my normal, that's just what I do. So let me finish this post though. Our campaigns are gonna be targeted at web designers and business owners with websites, specifically WordPress, for all the reasons I've already explained in the call today. We are going to share content that focuses sorry about that, that focuses on video / YouTube, best strategy / content type in the beginning, because things change over time, / gives the most bang for your buck. Okay, so video / YouTube, and let's see, engaging social media strategy, social media posts, campaigns / content, just in general. All our social media strategies really need to have engagement in mind, because without engagement, you can be active all day long. It's not going to really grow. Okay. So I think, can I pin this? I'm not sure if you can pin in the group. I think you can. That sucks. So put it in the tab. Oh, that's the tab they're talking about. Oh well. All right. So, now here I would just, as an example, share this. And why? Why am I sharing this to the group? This is the top piece of content from Jeff's website that talks about video. And I can expand on that later. So we're gonna continue kind of using the group as our private place to just brainstorm ideas. Over time, what we find that, what we all decide is the best stuff that we find during our research, we're gonna take this, we're gonna start sharing it to the Facebook page. So we have 4 minutes left. Questions, let's just go with questions. Anybody have any questions for me? Nothing? All right. Well, let's see. Yeah, I will just continue adding to this. It's going to be just concepts about the business and concepts that we should be using, using during our research. So, Yoast SEO, keyword research, speed of website, has to do with mobile. Security of website, it's pretty straightforward. WordPress, plugins, / open source. Equals stays updated. Yep. So just, keep sending me your research on Skype, because especially in the beginning, while you're getting a feel for it, I think it'd be nice for me to know what you're looking at, what you're thinking, and kind of steer you in the right direction in case, just so we can stay on track. So our homework for the week is check out 1 or 2 of the influencers, and at least 2 influencers, and let's find content that we can use that in our campaigns has to kind of do with all the stuff that I've put in this post. And then always think about, and then get me some examples for engagement. So let's see, and keep sending that to me in Skype, and we'll just go from there. So find content, and then anything you find engaging, let's share that to the group. And then let's continue. We're going forward. Our main thing that we're going to be focused on, and once we're going to be trying to master, is CoSchedule. Keep creating posts on blog posts, and keep creating Canva images. And send me the Canva image in Skype directly. I think, Anna, you were the first one to start doing that to me, and I realized it's just a lot easier that way. So just send the images like this. Keep dropping the link in there though, so I can, easily navigate to the article that you're making the images for. We're just going to continue making these better. Once I've think that you guys have a strong grip on CoSchedule, I'm going to teach you how to read the analytics. And then once we've learned how to read the analytics, we're going to be able to tell what content we want to put into the requeue. And the requeue is basically the automation, right? So if we create 1,000 posts, out of 1,000 posts, 100 of them are going to perform better than the other 900. We're going to automate those going into the future. And then, after a couple months of doing that kind of stuff, you'll be able to take a break from the posting, right? You'll be able to because you've got this automation going. And then, you know, you'll obviously want to come in every once in a while and add new content. But, you know, the idea here is if you switched from posting to trying to build engagement, you know, then your posting just disappears. And that's one of the worst things you can do. You gotta keep with both websites and social media platforms. You know, even without engagement, it will never really grow. But if you're not posting at all, you have no chance for engagement, right? So you gotta have the posting happening consistently. And it's very hard to juggle 5 things at once. So the step number 1 is almost with social media marketing is almost always using a program to automate your posting at least a little bit. You know, automation at the end of the day, you shouldn't automate everything. You can't automate engagement though. So let's start, we want to automate the posting first. All right, so it's 11:01. Let's call it there, and I will look to hear from you guys on Skype. All right, bye everyone.
I actually have a question.
Yes.
Sorry, it's just a clarification. So do you want us to share the content directly to you and through Facebook, the Facebook group?
So the Facebook group is, so the sharing of content that, yeah, go ahead for now.
Okay.
You know, I'll be trying to check out both, but I'm not on Facebook 24/7. So when you send me Skype, Skype is always on.
Okay,
you
got
know,
it.
when I'm at my computer, so I can respond much faster there. I'm gonna be getting better at being on Facebook in general.
Okay. And then as for the images that we create, would you be telling us like while we send it to you, like what you want us to change or how you like it and everything?
Yes, I've been trying to do that. So let's see. Yeah, so for you, if you could just going forward send me the images directly.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, that way I don't have to, you know, log into Canva to take a look at them. But I'll go log into Canva right now and give you some recommendations.
All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye.